we're going to be doing this for at least 2 days. We're going to write equations today of lines, okay, in slope-intercept form. So we are going to be writing them in this form, the y equals mx plus b. Okay, now the easiest kind of problem is if they were to give us both the slope and the y-intercept. That's what we just did on the do now. They gave us a slope, they gave us the y-intercept, so we could just write the equation from that information. But if they don't give you both of those things, then the next easiest one would be if they give you slope but not the y-intercept. We would just have to find one of the two. The one that we're going to be doing today is I am going to give you 2 ordered pairs, which means I am not giving you slope and I am not giving you the y-intercept. You guys are going to have to find both of those on your own. We have to find slope first, okay? And if your slope is not right, then when we go to find our y-intercept, you won't get that right either. So it's extremely important that you guys find your slope. Take your time, make sure you plug everything in correctly, so then that way you have a better chance at getting the y-intercept correct. Okay, today we'll focus on that. On Monday when you guys come back, we will work on parallel and perpendicular lines. So it's really one big lesson. I just cut it in half. So today we are just focusing on, you will be able to write equations of lines if I give you 2 ordered pairs. Okay? All right. So this is the easy kind, which you are probably not going to be tested on, but I'm going to go through one anyway. It says, write the equation of the line if we know that the slope is 1/2 and our y-intercept is 4. So again, this is like what I just had you guys do on the do now. You immediately, if I know slope, which is m, and if I know the y-intercept, which is b, I just immediately get to write my answer. So I put y equals 1/2, attach the x to it. You guys can't forget about that x. And then y-intercept is 4, so you just put plus 4. And those are almost too easy. That's why we don't really test you on those. But the ones that you guys are going to have to do are like the example down here at the bottom. Is everybody okay with what I just did there? You just put the slope right in front of x and you put the y-intercept right behind it. Cool. Okay. Now this one down here is actually on the back side. Like I'm going to work it out on the back. This right here is just basically giving you the directions. So what you guys are going to see today, I'm going to give you 2 ordered pairs, okay? When you are given 2 ordered pairs and they tell you to write the equation of the line, we have to find, so step 1 is find your slope, okay, which I know it says it here. I'm just writing a shorter version of it. So step 1, we find slope. In order to find slope, you guys have to use this slope formula that I just went through with you on your do now. Okay, then step 2, we have to find, I'm going to put the letter B there, but remember B stands for the y-intercept. And the way we find B is we do a plug and chug using, so here I'm going to write this too. Plug and chug using y equals mx plus b. So look at the board, please. You guys will know y, you'll know m, you'll know x. So we will plug 3 numbers in right here. And then you guys will actually solve the equation for b, and that's how you find your y-intercept. Last step is write the equation. So you'll write the equation using your 2 answers that you found in the first 2 steps. Okay? So go ahead, after you have that, I don't know if you guys wrote that down. They were written right here. I don't usually do their step 2. I skip that. I just find slope, find the intercept, write the equation. But we're going to work it out on the next page. It's the exact same problem. Okay? All right, so flip it over and let's get this plugged in. Okay, so we have these two ordered pairs. So step one, make sure you guys write this out, because anytime you guys work on your practice page, you're going to want to look back at these two examples to make sure you're doing your steps right. So step one, we're going to find slope. Okay, so we do m equals. Set up the fraction bar. Go ahead and put the minus signs there, so that way you won't forget them later. And then here are the top two numbers, 8 and 2. It does not matter which way you go. I prefer this way, just because the formula says y2 minus y1, but you don't have to go that way. You just have to stay consistent. If you go this way on top, I have to go the same way on the bottom. I know Aiden typically goes the other direction, so if Aiden goes 2 minus 8 up top, he has to make sure he does -1 minus 2 on the bottom. Okay, so his will be opposite of mine, but we'll still get the same final answer. Okay, so I would do 8 minus 2 for the two y values. And then my two x values, I would have to do 2 minus and then -1. So then you guys would just type this in. 8 minus 2 is 6. 2 minus -1. So you probably left off a minus sign. Okay, did you go the other direction? Okay, so yours would be -3. Mine's going to be a +3. Okay, but you had a negative up top too, didn't you? Okay, did you do 2 minus 8 up top? Okay, so then 2 minus 8 would actually be -6. So stick a negative sign in front of your 6. So see, like you have two negatives, I have two positives. When you divide two negatives, you get a positive, and when I divide two positives, I get a positive. So as long as you are consistent with the way you're going, even if your signs are different than mine, the final answer will be the same. You guys can actually divide 6 by 3. What do you get? You get a +2. So you will always need to reduce your fraction if you can. Sometimes reducing a fraction makes it a whole number because 6 is divisible by 3. Sometimes it'll be a fraction, like it might stay 2/5, and that's okay. Okay, is everybody good with step one, finding slope? Okay, then step two. We're going to find our y-intercept. Anytime you go to find your y-intercept, this is the very first thing I want you to do. I want you to immediately on your paper put slope-intercept form. Like I want to see y equals mx plus b. Now we just found our slope. What was our slope? 2. That is going to go right there. So I know that I'm going to take this m out and I'm going to put a 2 in its place because my slope is m. Now, if we're solving for b, this b isn't going anywhere. That's going to stay in the equation. What that means is I should have numbers that I can plug in for x and y. Well, x and y, don't x and y come from ordered pairs? And if you guys look back at the original problem, don't we have 2 ordered pairs to choose from? So I ended up using these two numbers. I used the 2, 8 as my ordered pair. Do you have to? No. Like, half of us right now could use the 2 and the 8. I'd put my 2 here and my 8 here. Half of you could use -1 here and the 2 here, and we'd all get the same answer. Okay, so if you have 2 ordered pairs to choose from, you guys get to decide which one you want to use. I preferred this one just because they're both positive numbers. That's why I used 2 and 8. But sometimes you won't have a choice. Like sometimes both ordered pairs will have negatives involved, so you're just going to have to pick one and go with it. Okay, so I'm going to use this 2, 8. So if I'm using 2, 8, the 2 is the x, the 8 is the y. So you want to plug in for y, you're going to plug in that 8 over here on the left side. And then right next to my slope, if m and x are side by side, what does that mean to do to them? Multiply them. So whatever number I plug in for x, I'm going to stick in a set of parentheses because then that means to multiply it by the 2 in front of it. So for x, x was 2. That was the ordered pair that came from the ordered pair. And then you just copy down the plus b. Once you substitute, like here's m, here's x, here's y. Once you substitute, you have to multiply these two together. What's 2 times 2? 4. Okay, so you multiply these two together to get a total of 4. And then in order to solve for b, what number do I have to move? The 4. And how do you move a positive 4? You subtract it. So I'm going to subtract 4 from the right and from the left. And what is 8 minus 4? 4. These two cancel each other out, and you just bring down the letter b. So b equals 4. Step 1, find slope. Step 2, find intercept. Step 3, write the equation. So this is all you guys do. Watch. You're going to bring your slope and your intercept together, and we're going to use those two numbers to write our final equation. Y equals the 2 goes in front of x, and the positive 4 goes behind it. So you end up with y equals 2x plus 4. Those are your steps every single time. You guys don't write this down. I'm just going to show you something. So make sure you guys are watching this. I told you guys that you could use either ordered pairs, so I'm going to just show you what happens if I had used -1, 2 instead. If I had done the step 2, if I had used x is -1, y is 2, my slope, all of us had to use 2 for slope because we had found that in step 1. Just watch what happens. What is 2 times -1? -2. And to move a -2, what do I do with it? Add it, yep. And 2 plus 2 is 4. So even if I had used that ordered pair, I still got the exact same y-intercept. So that's why I was telling you, it doesn't really matter which ordered pair you use, you'll still get the same y-intercept as long as you guys plug your numbers in correctly. Okay? Are we good? Because there's only one more example that we're going to do together before I give you guys your practice page. Okay, step 1 down here, it says find slope. So here are the 2 ordered pairs we are using. Okay, so I'm going to take -3 minus negative 5. Negative 3 minus negative 5. And then on the bottom, what would I write? 2 minus negative 2. So this is a time when both the top and the bottom have minus a negative. Unless you set yours up the opposite way that I did. If you did negative 5 minus negative 3 on top, then the bottom would say negative 2 minus 2. It would be completely opposite of mine. Okay, what do I get up top? 2. For those of you that set it up the other way, you get negative 2. Yep. Then on the bottom, 2 minus negative 2 is 4. If you did it the other direction, negative 2 minus 2 would be negative 4. So you either have 2 negatives or 2 positives based on which way you went. Okay. 2 negatives would turn positive, 2 positives will stay positive, and then what does 2/4 reduce to? 1/2. Now that can be done using the ABC button just like this, because this is a proper fraction. The top is smaller than the bottom, so you're allowed to type in 2ABC4 and it'll give you the correct answer. You don't have to flip it. Okay, step 2. Whew, sorry. For step number 2, it says choose a point to solve for B. So somebody besides Deja, give me, like, pick an ordered pair that you guys want to use. Somebody just pick one of them. I need somebody, what'd you say, 2, negative 3? Okay, we'll use the 2 and the negative 3. So I'm going to write that on here just so you guys know. We're going to use 2 comma negative 3, and our slope that we just found in step 1 was 1/2. Okay, so these are the 2 things that we're going to use in the y equals mx plus b. Okay, I always write that out, and then I always underline y, m, and x, because those are the 3 that are going to come out, and we're going to put numbers in their place. So, easiest one, m, goes right here, 1/2. You just have to make sure that you put, even though that, so look, x is listed first in the ordered pair, but it does not go first in the equation. It goes over here. It goes next to the slope. So the 2 actually goes there, and the negative 3 is the number you're plugging in for y, so that goes out front. Once you plug that in, we are supposed to multiply these 2 things together. Okay? So this is how you type it in. When you have a fraction involved, you guys type in 1, ABC2, and then times 2. So 1 ABC2 is 1/2 in the calculator, and then times 2. What do you get? You just get 1. So you would bring down your negative 3 equals, this becomes 1, and then bring down your plus b. And how do I move a 1? Subtract 1 from both sides of the equation. So now b is by itself. And what is negative 3 minus 1? You should get negative 4. Now remember, you can't just stop there. That is not your final answer. Your final answer will involve the slope and the intercept that we just found. So we have to just finish with the final equation. So all I end up doing is I just take this and this, y equals, slope goes first, so 1/2, put an x on it, and then we're going to finish with the -4. And I told you today we were just focusing on using 2 ordered pairs and writing an equation of a line. You on Monday will be writing equations of lines again, but we're going to find like parallel and perpendicular lines. The good news about that is you don't have to use slope formula. You're basically, for the most part, just doing this step right here. But the ones today, you have to do slope first, then intercept, then write your equation. Okay?